Peace, peace, peace. Hopefully this thing is working. All right. Let me know. Last week, I don't know what happened with the stream. Maybe it's still the same now. It's like I don't know what's going on with it. So let me see if I get somebody. It should work. I feel like it's not. Let me know if you can hear me, okay? Last week no one could hear me, so I want to see if everybody can hear me. You know what I mean? That's why I'm not talking yet. I'm saying anything important just yet, you know? All right. Okay, great. Last week I did a whole lesson and I was wondering why nobody was on it. I don't know what happened to it. It just didn't go. And I taught a whole lesson, it didn't go. But I'll be here till 8 o'clock. So I'm gonna be here for 1 hour. Okay. I'll be here for 1 hour. So I'm gonna give a couple of minutes for anybody to give their questions to. So peace to Kasim, thank you. All right, Tafari, peace God. All right, excellent victory. All right. Thank you. I guess the first order of business is essential book about to be released by the God Mala Divine. You know, I had the honor to write the foreword to it. You know, a 5%er journey from the streets to the cipher. He gave me the hardcover copy. You know what I mean? I didn't even make hardcover copies for my own books. So this is awesome. You know, and yeah, man, nice. And from the streets to the cipher, a 5%er journey from the streets to the cipher by Mala Divine Mala, and forward by me, Sunez Allah. So I wrote the forward to this. He gave me a nice description, really great. Just really great words from the God. It really means a lot to me. And this is coming out. I think it's coming out January 6th. That's the God's born day, if I remember correctly. And it's great. Look at these. I don't want to say what the book is about, or even like what my forward. How long was the forward? I wrote a forward that was about, let's see, 2, 4, 6 pages. I gave the equality. You know what I mean? And it basically goes through his journey and how he became a 5%er and the depth of that. Not just that he's part of a group, but what makes him what signifies that he's a true 5%er, as opposed to others that just say these things. You know, and what is the real work of a 5%er? Like, what is that work? And what's great about the book is that it uses his bio to set up what he sees as a protocol, you know, and it's just great stuff here, you know. And I'm thumbing through it now because look, the chapter 22 has this really great initiative, you know. So it goes like what we are as poor righteous teachers, you know, like a motto we could work with, and it's a great motto. I don't want to give too much of, you know, what is the purpose of the PRT collective cadre cipher, you know, and it's basically, this is a blueprint. This is a warrior protocol. It's amazing, and it just impressed me so much. You know, I've always been impressed with the guy. He's already authored at least 4 books, poetry books. Another more detailed autobiography was analyzing the prison systems. So he's given a lot of work to us, though. But this one really is for the gods. You know what I mean? Like, not telling us who we are, not telling us what to do, but a protocol that says, listen, do you all think this is the way it should go? Because this is how I see it. And when you read it, though, if you see it the way the God sees it, and I do, then you'll be like, yo, this is a protocol to instill, you know? Look, I'll read the back here. Peace, Drew TV. For the past 30 years, the Nation of Gods and Earth has been a foundational force in my personal development. I invite you to share in my journey, tracing a path from being deaf, dumb, and blind to truly hearing, speaking, and seeing with clarity. The impact of knowledge itself is a transformative process, one that refines, elevates, and elevates. One that refines, peace, elevates and evolves as we grow closer to our apex selves. Within these pages, I also present concepts of the progressive resourceful thinkers, PRT, progressive resourceful thinkers, way of thinking, grounded in the understanding that the future is ours if we do dare to be extraordinary. That's the key here in this book. That's the revolutionary aspect of this book. The progressive resourceful thinkers' way of thinking, this protocol, grounded in the understanding that the future is ours if we dare to be extraordinary, all minds are one. That's really his goal here, the way he's writing. What are the pitfalls he went through in life to show you that all minds aren't one? What were when was the moment that he saw that principles were the way to live, and how to instill these principles and how to define them? Like, what should a man's principles be? Because a man could go through life under a certain law, under certain rulership, under certain ideas. That doesn't mean that it's a real law. You know what I mean? And the way we define law, of course, is the 5% is something that's right and exact. You know what I mean? And then, you know, the cover shows him in an elevated lotus state, man in the elevated lotus state, right? And then you see the things that influenced a lot of the hell, right? The guns, the street life, the prison system. He was locked away for about 24, 25 years, right? Then you see him studying, and then you see him making coalitions, building in ciphers, making connections, you know? And it just looks pretty right there, you know what I mean? For me to be adding on to the book, that's just pretty right there, you know what I mean? So it's nice to add on to another book, you know what I mean? Right? As I finish my own, though, you know, Infinite Mind reminding me I got to write more Infinite Mind, right? Infinite Mind getting written about in the book quite a bit that I'm writing now. I'm just trying to finish it, you know what I mean? Hopefully these people, y'all be making great music though, but you know, it gets tiring though, you know? Writing about music this much is like being in a perfume shop, you know? After a while, it all smells like perfume, 1 scent. But definitely the Diocese de Polos was a palate cleanser, you know what I mean? I haven't even written about it yet though, but I'm working on a book too. It's not gonna come out his is gonna come out January 6th. Use that first paycheck you get for that. I'll probably I'm looking to release my book, The Real of 2024, mid-January, because I like to go through everything in the year and then have it complete in there, you know? Yeah, you know, I don't know how to do that, God. I've never done that. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know, I don't really take time off. So like I have a certain amount of pages I read every week, right? But what happens is that the only way I give myself a break is if I read all the required pages, faster. So my goal is always to read 300 pages, and I finished it in the morning. I finished that in the morning. So now for the rest of Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I don't have to read. You know what I mean? But the writing, I always, I don't know how to not stop that. You know what I mean? I don't really give up myself a sabbatical. But you know what happened was that I was getting paid with these books. Before, the algorithms around by the time 2023, from 2020 to 2023, my books were selling really, really good. I had found my niche and everything. But once the algorithms kind of ghettoed everybody into one ghetto and keeps you reaching, like I've been on the same amount of friends on Instagram, which is really where I've made most of my sales. That shit, I don't get much more friends. It stays in the same holding pattern. Like I can't break 5,000, like half, I'm trying to get to 5K. I can't break it. So that makes it more difficult. But before that's how I got to writing so much, because I was writing and I was making money with all the books. You know what I mean? And then I was excited that I was actually being able to publish a lot of stuff that people wouldn't want to, that there was no place for it. So that's what got, But you know me, I've always been, I've always been like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're right, God. I say that. I'll say, hey, you're right, God. I gotta give it a rest though. But that's not the way it works out for me. You know what I mean? Like I don't really take breaks from coming to the school. So I don't take breaks coming to a law school, right? Or teaching here. So that means that Thursday night when the class finishes to the next Thursday, that means I see all of the things that I have to learn and new things to develop, so that way I could add on properly the next week. So it feels like if I have to be here, if I'm going to be here and build, then I have to continue to be even sharper and sharper. So that's become the flow. You know what I mean? The truth is, God, it's like it is in spurts though. I go faster. I go faster. I go faster finishing things, and then my rest really is like when I'm with the kids. You know what I mean? Because I don't have my kids every week. You know what I mean? So when I have them, that's when I'm relaxing, like playing with them, or like now we been like if I binge watch some program with them or we do stuff, that's really when I get my rest from things. You know what I mean? That really is my rest. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right, God. Yeah, the I don't. I think I could turn it off. Like if I meditate and take time to turn it off and stuff, it'll be turned off, but only because it's only for a certain amount of time. So I could let go for a certain amount of time, but it's very short amount of time. So, you know, what's funny? One of my students sent me a video of the Wu Dang and said if I would last a year there and shit like that or something like that. But yeah, I'll go up there with you to meditate. Yeah. Yeah. Who wouldn't want to write though at Wu Dang Mountain though? You know what I mean? And then probably, King would probably send me beats, or I'll get True Cypher to send me more beats and shit. I'll be writing in journals, writing songs and shit. Yeah. But you're right though. You know what? And you know what's funny? Taking it all in is an interesting thing, because that's why I end up writing in a journal. Most of the stuff I write in my journals is about the books I read, because that's how I'm taking it all in and shit. You know what I mean? But but you're right. But I see it like this, God. Like, you was there for a lot. We known each other so long, but I always felt like in my 20s I didn't do as much as I do now. And in my 30s, in my 20s and my 30s, and you know this, guy, I was building, but I spent a lot of my downtime, which was a lot of time, trying to build up family. You know what I mean? Trying to build up family. And because that didn't work out, and I have beautiful children, that's all I have out of it. But I don't have a family to go home to, like in that sense. Man, I want to read everything. I want to study everything. I want to hear every song. I want to read every book. You know, I just want to do the knowledge to everything. You know what I mean? But I took some years off from writing in the notebooks in my 30s. You know what I'm saying? But I started again. So I'm like at book. Oh man, I'm on book 75. Yeah, I've written 74 journals. Yeah, and that's, mind you, most of the 2010s I didn't write in the journals. There's like maybe 6-7 years that I didn't write in the journals, because what happened was when I started to write and really publish my own work, I was like, okay, now I'm finally writing and I'm sharing my own stuff, right? I could leave the journals alone. I'm right, you know. But then now, then in the 2020s, I was like, or 2019, I was like, nah, I gotta write everywhere, like journal and to the outside world. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's how I gotta do. Yeah, you know? I do. That's a lot of books, man. It's a lot of books, man. And you know, retrospect is an interesting thing. You know. Oh shit! On my born day, that's what I want. Yeah, that's what I need. I need gifts like that. That's the type of gifts that I need. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. Yo, but I'll tell you something though. For everybody listening, that Dioses y Polos, like, and I just want to build on it a little bit because it has us in it, God's, and some people don't understand. Like I've known there are a lot of people that are in the low life culture and also on the peripheries of low culture that, but especially some low lives that they don't really know hip hop like that now. They don't know hip hop now, meaning the last 15 plus years. Like when I say people don't know hip hop now, I'm talking about like 2010 onward. Like they don't know. If they go hardcore or stuff like that, they'll say Kendrick Lamar. Like nah, that's not the culture. That's the corporate performative stuff, you know, hardcore performative. But the Dioses y Polos, to me, that's like a record of a lot of community development, like God's like infinite mind that really been building across the globe, literally. And low lives that like to be in a low life chapter, and I know this because I know low life chapters. I know brothers in low life chapters from Italy. What was the other country? Certain country, Britain, and then of course all the ones in the other states in the U.S. And to become low life though from another country, they be acting like people be thinking they just put on polo and then they just took a lot of pictures, you know, and that's not it. They actually did a lot of work. You know what I mean? They did a lot of work to get the understanding of the low life history, connect with the OGs like the Thurston Howes, the Rack Lows, you know what I mean? The Rudy Lows, and then also see, well, what are the principles and what will this organization of low lives be when you represent it to the world? It's clothing, but then also the principles of love and loyalty, and then to have a mantra of what you think love and loyalty is, and not just be saying love and loyalty because you know. Um, so it, you know, when people that are low lives here, I actually don't think they understand what it takes for the other people from other countries to actually make a chapter, you know, and how sincere those chapters are. Because I met white low lives from Europe and shit, and I think it was Australia. You know what I mean? Like they really put in work, and it's not some of them put in work though with the obligatory. They have to get like the pieces, you know, Chief Head 94, you know, things like that, Polo 92 stuff, right? Get your suicide skis and shit, the cookies. But they also make a connection with the history, and then how they will uphold that history is also spoken about. You know what I mean? And then the God. You know what I mean? Like we're supposed to be making connections with others. So when you see Infinite Mind making a connection with the low lives, I mean that's real. You know what I mean? And the God's building out there. So we're giving the knowledge to the low lives, and the low lives are also giving us a lot of insight. Like people be disrespecting sometimes too when you build with other people that do things. Just because they're not in our nation doesn't mean that they don't have insights and understanding. Doesn't mean that they haven't worked hard to hustle in a good way, in the bad ways, the good ways, all of that. You know what I mean? Right? That's right. That's right, Philo. Yeah. That's right, Julia. Yeah, that's a good brother right there, too. You know? Infinite, you said there's always been an argument that hip hop is 5 elements, are 4. Some said beatbox was a 5th, other stuff that belongs to. Well, you know what's funny? When I started to write and I decided that I wanted what I did as a journalist to be an element of hip hop, I was the first one of to first to start saying that journalism was the 5th element of hip hop if it was done creatively. If that said piece was a creative piece, because that's what I was working to do. And I said that there were requisites and fathers to it, like Bones Malone, and then forefathers that really did it in other genres, particularly Amiri Baraka, because that's really the way that I did it, you know? But like to me, I see it the way KRS-One sees it. There's main 4 elements, but fashion, to me, what I do, journalism, the way I do it, the creative journalism, the fashion, I see all those as elements as well, though. You know what I mean? Right? Because look, Lola's been doing it for too long. I mean, what do you think that, KRS was saying Brooklyn keeps on taking it, Yeah, they really do rep that, And look, it sounds superficial to people, right? But that's people that haven't been around low lives, you know? A lot of them have really taken on love and loyalty mantras to really define what love will be in their community, in their household, among their family, their siblings, their spouses, their children, and then also what entails loyalty. Like they really think about this stuff. I've had deep, deep conversations with people not in this nation, our nation, 5%, about love and loyalty, and I have learned things and gotten things out of it. So it's wonderful. You know what I mean? It's wonderful. You know? And Low Life Mexico, man, they got pieces though, and they know how to put that shit together. You know what I mean? They put that shit together, you know? And that and even more importantly, like you would get a feeling if you know Spanish though, and you listen to what they're saying on the album, and it's official. It's official. It's so layered. It's so ill spoken. Like, you know what I mean? It's shit's fire. You know what I mean? Shit's fire. It's one of the best albums I heard this year, and I've already heard. This year's Reel of 2024. I'm shrinking it down. I'm trying to give it a filtered version, and I've got about 250 albums in there, and so it ranks up there with that. If something's not good enough, I'm just not writing about it now. You know. If that shit is weak, I'm just leaving it alone. I'm done. Yeah, if you said it was a great feeling collaborating with Low Life Mexico to bring that fashion out to the forefront, but also to show how the gods have always been behind the birth of hip hop as a movement. You know, right? Malik, peace, Malik. I'm assuming you're asking about love and loyalty. Listen, love and loyalty derives because the brothers was boosting to survive. People forget they don't know, right? I'll give you how it connects to me, right? The legendary Bones Malone, Rudy Lowe, Rakim, Supreme Shabazz Allah, same person, Rudy Lowe, Rakim, Supreme Shabazz Allah, and Thurston Howell III, right? They were some of the youngest and the earliest that was boosting. They were boosting anything, but when they boosted clothes, the clothing that was always in season for them to make money off, because they were making money to eat food. They were not making money to live lavish. They were boosting to eat. the clothes that they could always sell was the clothes that was always in season, meaning that they gave you summer looks, they gave you the winter, they gave you the fall, they gave you different types of styles, they gave you the colors, everything, right? They had diverse styles, right? They had the button ups, they had different, they had the Southwestern, right? Really the indigenous influence, right? Um, you know, they got the, of course, the classic polo, right? The polo shirts, they had everything, right? So when they was doing that, when they was when they was doing that, they was realizing that Ralph Lauren was seasonal and they could have stuff to sell all year round. When they got so good at it, though, they had stuff that they could wear. And when you do something good enough, you also earn surplus. You could have live a better life, and you could dress better. And that's what they chose to wear too. So that's where, after a while, Thurston Howell was being, you know, some girl was calling him a low life, and he was like, "Yeah, that's the low, the polo, the low life." And they would put the two L's up, low life. But then they started to say, "Listen, they're doing this boosting, they're doing all this stuff that's illegal. They needed to have a camaraderie among them that was genuine." And that's where the love and loyalty, the loyalty to always be soldiers by side as they do all this stuff, but also love because they're doing it for themselves to live better. After a while, when they started to do music, right, and they started to do other things like Thurston Howell, Rack Low, they all started making music. They start to bring it out though, but as something different. They always been hip hop, and now they're gonna do it in different ways. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna do it different ways, and part of those ways was flooding flooding everything with the hip hop. You know, I come into that because I started being cool and building a lot with Thurston Howell the third because I was writing about him and he was seeing what I do, liked the way I write. So I ended up writing his website bio. And then on the other side, his man, Rakim Supreme Shabazz, I meet him and he's telling me I should be low life because of what I do in the community building, but also what I do in hip hop, because that's what they want to do with the organization. They want to make low lives something really profound that is positive in the society. So eventually I say, okay, when I have like more than a week's worth of clothes, right? And the clothes really worked because it was perfect for office, it was perfect for outside. You know, before when I used to have to not wear certain things at work. You know what I mean? Or change. With the polo, man, I could wear the same thing everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So like I wear this in the schools when I'm not teaching martial arts, right? And it's no problem. But it's still something I could go to a video and be with this too. You know what I mean? So it was diverse enough for me, you know, and it was wonderful clothing. And I still got shirts that look brand new that they're about 2015. So you know what I mean? So like the wardrobe lasts, you know what I mean? And the majority of the wardrobe. And so then Rakim, Supreme Shabazz, Rudy Lowe, he knew Bones Malone. And Bones Malone had told him that I was the only writer that he reads. So I was like, wow, that's one of my idols though. And he's reading my stuff when I put it out. So that led them to giving me my L's more, led them more so to giving my L's. And I got my L's, you know what I mean? I wore head to toe polo, 2016 Low Goose and a Deuce event. Showed them prove, right? I had the coat, right? Because today still, right? You got that polo look, right? The sweaters is polo, right? Got the desert camo polo, you know what I'm saying? Just regular polo shirt, tank top polo, right? Head to toe, head to toe. You know what I mean? Everything is polo. You know what I'm saying? You rep everything, you know? And so when I repped everything, head to toe, man, the boots, the socks, everything, right? The hat, And then I got the L's, and we started, and I'm in a community. I'm building with them. I'm building in a community that is very, you know what I mean? Nobody came up to me and said, "Yo, you gotta let's go get this, boost this." Nobody invited me to do nothing illegal. Never. Everybody invited me to do what they were doing positive. Everybody asked how they could get involved with what I was doing positive. That's love and loyalty. That's love and loyalty. I came in there to do something positive, and people, that's what they brought to the table, and that's what they opened up and made space on the table for me to build. That's why we building in it. That's why there's 5% building in it. And there was already 5%. I didn't go in there and be the first 5%. Nah. You know? Nah. There was already 5% in there. You know? And that's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? And then the skill illustrator, that's because we, one day it was at Sean Price's wake. What was it? Sean Price's wake. We're all there and everything. And Spit Gems and some others, they're talking about me. And Spit Gems is saying he's not a writer. He's not a regular writer, like a regular fucking journalist. And I remember Thurston Howe pushes through the crowd and he goes, "Yo, that's not a writer. That's the skill illustrator." So that's what happened there. Because when Thurston Howe uses that name, Skillionaire, skill, he does something with skill. That actually came from the god B-Born, right? Who's one of the IBM dancers, was a dope. It is a dope dancer. And it's also an MC, part of the group Concealed Weaponry. And they had one album with J Love, part of the group, producing. It was dope. Wise Ruler and Prince Original were the other three members. Dope album. I might listen to that when I leave here, man. But haven't heard it in a while. And he's the one that called Thurston Howe skilling it, So Thurston always uses that skill thing and just keeps flipping it. But he flipped it for me, you know what I mean? And it's a great honor, you know what I mean? Ralphie's Kids, United Shoplifters, those are all early boosting crews that merged to be Low Lives, you know what I mean? Because the Low Lives, that's why they have the cookie, right? The cookie got SJP at MJV, right? St. John's and Marcus Garvey, right? That symbolized all of the boosting crews merging together, though. So it's amazing how all these different people who, not always on the same wavelength, combined and became something bigger. I mean, that's huge. He did embrace low life. If you watch the HBO documentary, Very Ralph, right? I'll write it in here. It's an HBO documentary, right? There's like almost 20 to 30 minutes about the low lives, and Thurston Howe is in there. I think God Rakim Supreme Shabazz is in there too. But I know that that Thurston Howe's in there speaking about it, and they endorse. And listen, at this day, events that Rack Low does, one of the founders, that's sponsored. At times it's sponsored by Ralph. Thurston has been paid by Ralph Lauren for many ventures, including modeling. You know what I mean? And he was heavily featured, and the Low Lives themselves were heavily featured in the documentary. Like, they were able to describe what the movement is and how important that was, and how Ralph came to accept it, because it actually showed how the brand could be worn through the whole world. And we wore it, I say we because I'm a Low Life now, but the Low Lives, the original Low Lives, they wore it in ways, and they showed the world how to rock that fashion different. Because before, the way you wore a polo, or the way you wore the way you wore certain sweaters, like what's it called, a shawl sweater or something. They would wear it corny, tying the sweater around your waist, lapping the putting the polos, wearing a polo, collar up, looking all bougie, right? Nah, yeah, they had a whole new way of doing it. You know what I mean? Peace, guy. And it was something else. But yeah, check that out. Very Ralph. You know what? I have HBO Max though. Let me see if you can find, because they don't put everything on it all the time, and they take out, put back. Let me see if Very Ralph is available on it, because I saw it a long time ago. So, shit, I saw it before I even had this HBO Max app. They just call it Max now, but it's all the HBO stuff. Let's see. Very. Yeah, Very Ralph. 2019 documentary. Let me see if you, right? That's the documentary, right? Right there. Very Ralph. You know? And if when you watch it, we're in there. You know what I'm saying? We're in there. So it's a dope thing. Like people be acting like, yo, Lyricist Lounge, right? The real and TV show, the big show. Yeah. Skilligan's Islands is a dope album, though. Me personally, I think Thurston Howell actually rhymes better now than he did before. And that's like with a lot of great MCs. Infinite Mind rhymes better than he did before. You know what I mean? King Kamal rhymes better than his earlier stuff. Like the real MCs, the more they learn, the better they get. You know what I mean? Yeah, see, Dioses y Polos, Infinite Mind says, combines the South American 5% movement with the low life movement out of Mexico. I think that's beautiful. That's powerful, man. And I would like to see that as a series, like more than one album, like. Yeah, check that out. Very Ralph. Check that out. It's good history in there and very interesting, right? Yeah. All right, so we did all that. If you have any questions, I'll take them. I'm here for like 20 more minutes. So I'm going to go right now. I'm going to go through the lesson that I went through last week that was only done for myself because it wasn't recorded properly. It didn't stream at all. Like, I don't know what happened to it, but this is what, and I knew something was wrong because nobody was showing up and that never happens. And then it didn't play back at all. So it didn't. And yet it was showing me that it was recording, so I don't know. But this plus lesson that I wrote to me is very important because it's a way to look at 120 lessons when you're dealing with them. And it's a checklist of things to attack when you break down the lesson. And it's very formulaic though. But before you get into thinking of deeper things, go through this checklist first and you'll see all of the things that you can get through. So I call it the justice build. All right, the justice build. Let's move this over. I'll have it. I can see the chat. If you have any questions, peace to the God, self-magnetic, right? Infinite Mind, you also said it's very important. We named our group Sul 7, right? To illustrate the growth and the spreading the knowledge in South America. South in Spanish is Sul. We added the Z to show the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of the equality of what we are building down there. I mean, it's a dope, man. It's a dope name. Let's see what we're doing here. I'm just waiting for the lesson to open the file. All right. This is called the justice build. The 120 lessons are a complete tool of learning if one applies a complete body of disciplines to it. Below are 10 immediate disciplines and concepts to begin with. Each point will be related to the first degree in the student enrollment mainly. Right? 1 to 10, who is the original man? The original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, the cream of the planet Earth, father of civilization, and God of the universe. The stratagem here may be applied to any teaching we come across. All right? So in the justice build, the 10 things to look at in each degree when you're trying to break it down, the first thing is vocabulary. Vocabulary, before we even seek to explain the meaning of the degree, let alone get an understanding, we must know what the words themselves mean. Right? Okay, right? So example, what does Asiatic mean, right? That's a great example because Asiatic is something that it has a definition, but then it has a different meaning to it, or a more meaning to it. So you have to see what are those words that can be defined regular, and then what are the words that also need more of a deeper definition the way we see it. Vocabulary skills of ill, right? Now history is this. The second one is history. The 120 lessons are not structured chronologically, and many become confused by the timeline. Throw in the Asiatic calendar, a calendar based on events more than astrological timing, and there could be extreme confusion. We must know the time we are studying and also the historical events referenced or the history it suggests we should know of. Right? And the example is, what is the history of Asia? Right? You go through Pangea, what do they mean? The beginnings, right? How is the black man the father of civilization? Now you're going through history. Okay? You need to go through history. All right. Number 3, science. We must engage in the sciences that the degrees are referencing. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught as an evangelist, sharing a fact-based religion. Right? Remember, I say he's an evangelist because he didn't just prove things. He was telling you, if you don't bear witness to this proof that we have, right, you go through hellfire. You know. Yeah, etymology too, God. I only put 10, but etymology could be another one, or it could go into the vocabulary as like an idea of vocabulary, because that's part of researching the word. Because right, the beginning of vocabulary research is in the definitions, and etymology is part of that dictionary. You know, so it certainly, yeah, it should be added on in there because that's a big thing. That's a big thing. Yeah, you know, that's definitely something that needs to be overtly said. Um, but I said Elijah built a massive congregation off the dynamic sharing of unknown truths that he did not technically prove, but overtly declared must be accepted. That's why he's an evangelist, right? Evangelist of truth. We cannot do that because these Muslim teachings have become our 120 lessons, and so we must look for real scientific reasoning at every turn. Example, the biochemistry of the black man. What is black, right? So you got to define this stuff, okay? You can't just define it uh, um, you know, phenotypically, what you think you see, culturally, how people accept things and the word usage. Um, you certainly can't just define it that minuscule, right? Let's go down here. I'm trying to scroll. All right, number 4 is abstract versus concrete. Right, this is important because if people be getting lost though, putting concrete meaning on abstract things, right? Right, we go by, that's right, Millie, go by genotype, right? Um, and also, too, by the way, that's not only the word I was saying, but like when you define who is black, you don't just want to go through your own anecdotal, you know, experience. Peace to the God, King Kamal, right? Objective versus subjective, right, right. Thank you. If yeah, that's see, I'm gonna add that in there. Objective versus subjective. But King, you said, what do you think when you look up the word Asiatic? It's not defined as offensive or derogatory. You know, that's because it's a nuanced derogatory. Asiatic is derogatory. Oriental was used to be the derogatory term. Asiatic used to be the term describing certain things or time periods, and then Asian was the word that you use for the person. You know, so it's when you use the words in the wrong for the wrong noun, person, place, or thing. When you use it for the wrong noun, then it becomes offensive. So that it's kind of a nuanced thing, right? But I said here in the abstract versus concrete, objective versus subjective. The language of 120 is a dialect we must learn in a way of speaking that is not overtly technical. We must understand the use of the metaphor in abstract terms that are not to be taken exactly literal, and other terms that are much deeper than they appear to be. Right? Asiatic would be one of those terms. But the example I put here was the abstract term of cream and the deeper meaning behind black man. Right? All right. All right. All right. Number 5, titles offered. We are learning a knowledge of self with this great aid. In it, titles are shared constantly, and we must note under what conditions and notice their worth, the activities and powers designated by them. We say we are God or Earth, the most important titles known. Okay? God. Examples: God, the maker, the owner. Titles, you know what I'm saying? Right? All right. Number 6, today's reality. Right? Um, Today's reality. With these degrees written in the 1930s, right, we must learn how to understand how this language fits this time and the people that are around us. How do they see it? What would they understand out of 120? How do I share the principles if I quote, paraphrase, or explain in my own words, right? An example I gave was a black man explaining black man is God to a yellow sea Dominican who is Christian Catholic and taught to hate Haitians because they're African, right? This is what I'm saying. Like, you have to learn how it applies and how certain, so you're starting to see connections, right? Number 7, common ancestry. 120 is a new arcane text of spiritual truth. Arcane, meaning you have to dig deeper. It is not immediately explainable. Someone has to explain the meanings behind it and the usage behind the words. It is important to note how our people learn this truth and what parts of it over the last 6,000 years and beyond. Without, we will not see the useful tools to gain from the past, and often will strut around it, reinventing the wheel. So it's important that you see 120 in the lineage of all these other ancient texts, whether they be the ancient texts of Islam, the Tao, Buddhism, Hindu texts, Sufic order, the work of the Sufic orders, the yogic, teachings, right? You want to see a continuum of time when you build it. Okay. Number 8, 120 reference. You cannot prove a degree in 120 by quoting another degree. This is the same as saying you are correct because you said as such last week, right? Indeed, universal schools of thought, God. However, in the study of 120, referencing other degrees brings insight to the concepts in each of the degrees. They must be cross-referenced to extract total meaning, right? Example, the 10th degree in the 140 asks, who's that mystery God? This lends insight to the 120 being one of the few spiritual texts to overtly claim who God is, as opposed to other ancient texts that were far more subtle, right? Telling you, knowledge degrees telling you the God is, right? And the other was being clear about who is that mystery God, right? Giving you all bases, right? So you cross-reference that to show that there is no mystery God, and we're saying that this is God. Everything else is a mystery God. But normally, you can't just say one because this other one says so. That's not how it works. Proofs. Number 9, supreme mathematics. The language of our essence, the one how the original man and woman do, it is also the law and order of the universe, and we must always be mindful of the degrees that the lessons highlight. Example, knowledge, the number of the degree, and 7, God, mentioned in the lesson, right? We should always be using our math, okay, and breaking it down. So the understandings that you have about mathematics should be ever growing, but what you have at that point should be applied to each and every degree in experimentation and also testing that experiment and the results of these experiments, though, with whoever is teaching you, your enlightener, willingly me, or anyone else, right? All right, knowledge add-on cipher, right? The 10th one, your understanding. This is the end goal. Life is a developing understanding, and you must articulate what you know so that you figure out how you may use it, right? It's a revolving door. You figure out how you use this knowledge, wisdom, and you get an understanding. But then you also have to what? Understand how you were using it. You know what I mean? And understand how understanding is being lived out. It's a cycle. It's also a revolving reality, right? Your understanding is a unique yet proven insight that propels your way of life. Your building with 120 is nothing without this. So whatever understandings that you have, the more overt you could be in articulating, putting into words the understanding that you have about any and all things, the more insight you could bring to looking at degrees in 120. Okay, so it's not just get understanding for 120 for the real world, it's also the things that you've already understood from the free world brought into and continue to understand in the free world, brought into the study of 120. Right? It's not a linear path in any kind of way. All right, so those are the 10 things. I'd love it if people could find out some more things they would say is like a category to go through as a checklist to add on to this. But this is definitely a major start. If you email me, sunez97@gmail.com, I will get this to you. All right. And really show you like my typing, I type really, really fast, right? And my keyboard is so old, my laptop, some of these buttons don't always press though, so it's slowed me down a lot. But yes, God, yeah. Just like during the weekend, or send me an email or text to remind me, okay? And I'll send it out to you, God. This is the Justice Build, the Justice Curriculum Plus lesson are different subjects to study to make you an all-around student, okay? That I think that certainly should be at least the first 10 or a major 10 that you should always have and be building on, right? So that's different. That's the Justice Curriculum. This is the Justice Build. 10 things to checklist through when you're building on 120, all right? Yeah. So Malik, just you can email me because I'll send you that out. All right, so I got a few more minutes here and everything. Again, it was mainly 3 things. We was building on this lesson. Any questions? But the other 2 things was January 6th, in the beginning of January, right? In fact, I'm gonna go. It's on Amazon. I'm gonna find it on Amazon. I want to get the exact drop date. The book is called A 5% Journey, right? Okay. God is dropping it. It's going to be in hardcover, paperback, and it's also Kindle ebook. Okay. It's dropping. I'll get the date. January 6th. I was right because I know the God's born day is January 6th, right? So make sure you get this. Make sure you get this. It's a great book. I wrote the forward, and I never be slipping when I write, especially if I gotta write for such a great book as this. I wrote some fly shit on this. You know what I mean? Because the God really did his thing. And I wanted to be as dope as to lead you into the book. That's what a forward does. So you got this 5% Journey coming out January 6th. You could pre-order already though. From what I see here, yeah, you could pre-order already. Right? At least the Kindle. Right? I think the hardcover and the wait, I clicked the wrong thing here. Hold on. Let me see if all the formats, hardcover, paperback, are also all right. I don't see a pre-order for the hardcover. Should be up there soon though. But January 6th though, the book will be out though, so you have to wait. You could pre-order the Kindle Oh, but I would say if you go on Amazon, just put this on your, save it on your list and everything. You know, um, it's a great book, man. It's got a whole protocol, progressive, progressive resourceful thinkers. That's his acronym for also PRT, Poor Righteous Teachers, that we use. A second acronym, and he's got a whole protocol in here that I think is that I saw and I know is very powerful. If we all used it, it'd be powerful. The second thing is the gods making moves with other movements, building coalitions with righteous builders and revolutionaries. The Dioses y Polos album from the God Infinite Mind and the Zoot Seven, brothers. It's dope. It's dope. You know what I'm saying? So if you can't find it, go to Infinite Seven Mind anywhere on Instagram, and just look for the God, and you'll see what the album is and the links to all of it. That album is one of the best albums this year. My brother King Kamal is in here. He got the Paul album out. He has a whole bunch of albums out this year. But the Paul album, though, I was gonna say it's his peak of 2024, but I love that June 10th album, man. You know what I'm saying? In fact, I love the original Paul version too, which I got that. That's for me right there. You know what I mean? All right. And I also got a loose single with King Kamal called Energy. And for me, that's my favorite song that I was part of that was released this year. That one, and of course the title cut for my album. Those two songs I love the most. But damn, we did Energy, man. We dropped that Energy was crazy, right? But yes, yeah. So those are all the things. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm about to go get some groceries. They got a Trader Joe's down the block here, right on 125. So I go to Trader Joe's, get my weekend stuff, and then I'm gonna get me a kombucha, man. I'm gonna drink me a nice little kombucha over that, and you know, right? So if you got my math, text me if you got, you know. So I didn't really promote my stuff today, but I'm in that thing, and it's just the same though, because these are my brothers, man. I'm actually, I'm in the book, the forward, but I'm also on the Dioses y Polos album. You know what I mean? I had some bars on it. You know what I mean? Some intro bars. You know, um, I appreciate that, King. You know, it's been a blessing to make music. You know what I mean? And make music with you. And South Magnetic, man. I gotta figure out a time. Like it sucks because I have vacation time, but now I'm stuck finishing this book. You know what I mean? I don't want to be behind, and I'm running to be on time with it. Because I want to go out there and drop. I already wrote bars to one of the songs beats you gave me. You know, but because Self Magnetic, my brother Self Magnetic and his brother, they got beats and they got rhymes. They're rice and beans. That's the rice and beans right there. They're rice and beans. That's the crew. You know. But peace to everybody. 793rd, everybody. It's so nice that everybody was here because I couldn't get anybody last week. It just didn't stream. But we're out here, and so I'm gonna let everybody go. You know, get me a nice kombucha. Go back home. Put this on the mantle. You know, wonderful. You know what I mean? And it's just a it's just an honor. And as we close out, we got like let me see how we got. Let's see, we got at least two more classes, right? Two more sessions. I am really gonna go into planning because we talked about planning it earlier in this class, like me overloading and me being obsessed with overloading. That's the thing I do. That is the thing I do. I only my rest is 1 day a week, so I get everything done, and I only take a break from training 1 day a week. Um, and maybe I'll take a day off from writing or and reading, but that don't always happen. You know what I mean? But the point being though is that I really want to go through planning and how we could launch into this next year. If anybody in this area, put it in your head right there. If you really want to learn martial arts and get a beginner's entryway into being able to go to any school and learn martial arts of your choice, I'm teaching my concentrated supremacy course to anybody that wants to learn it. If you're tough enough to brave the cold with me, we could do that. All right, but I will. It's still open if people schedule it with me. You know, that's another thing. All right, so I'm gonna let everybody go. It's time for me to go and build. Peace. Peace, guys.